Hello, how everybody's doing today? I'm going to do my checks and I'll be with you in a moment. We got to just make sure we don't have any problems or anything. Make sure we have a good signal. Everything has to be working right the way it's supposed to be. And I think it was just that easy. Excellent. So I'm your full spectrum Gnostic. I'm Len David Livesey, and we have a great show today. Today is going to be a little controversial. So for those who are kind of timid and whatever, we're not trying to intimidate or hurt anybody's feelings. We're just going over on this show. This is Encounters. We go over the latest and the greatest and all the news that's going on that things people are not talking about. So that is what we're going to go over today. And hopefully, some of you will find this show enlightening and thing. But if this is a kind of sensitive topic for you, I understand if you decide to skip this podcast today. But my name is Lynn David Livesey. I'm your full spectrum Gnostic, and we have a very good show for you today. I am talking today about why is the racial mix of America dramatically changing, and there's a lot of things going on which is not a lot of people don't know about. And we have the population right there. We have hit an all time high number. When I was a kid, the population of the United States was only at 270 million. Then it was 290. Then it was 300. Then it was, 300,000. Then it was 310. We now hit the milestone of 330,000 people, 330 million people living in the United States. Congratulations. There's a lot of us. And the strength of a country is dependent upon us keep growing. Maybe we should change that, but this is what we must have. And it's very important. All the politicians want the population to grow. They don't want the population to shrink. And this is a problem that they're having in certain parts of the world. In Europe, the population is falling. In Japan, it's falling. Scandinavia is falling. A lot of places, the population is not going up. In Canada, the population is decreasing. We don't want the population to go up. In Russia, the population is going down. We want it to go up. And the world population is definitely not going down. We was at 7 billion, and now we're at 700.6 billion people. Population's going up. Okay. So, but the population is doing things that certain people to keep the population rising and going up in America to try to keep us on top. Uh, the country is changing. Okay. And this is going to affect everything and is affecting things that you're going to see very recently in the news, unfortunately, because some people are not very happy with the changes. So let's go ahead and go forward with our little slideshow as I normally do. This is the big thing right here. You can see that the population has dramatically, the racial mixing of America have dramatically changed since the 1960s. In the 1960s, America was 85% white. It was only 3.5% Hispanic, 11% Black, 0.6% Asian. By 2011, we were 63% white, dramatically dropped. Hispanics was up to 17%. Blacks went from 11 to 12. Hispanics passed us. Okay. And Asians went from less than 0.1%, it was only 0.6% to 5% of the population. They estimate by 2050, this is where we will be at the current projections. And this is why people are freaking out because they do not want this to come true. And they're trying to see, it's the old story, as I told you before. Is time a book or is time a book or a river? If time is a book, there's nothing you can do about it. You might as well just go ahead and enjoy the ride because you can't change anything. But if time is a river and you don't like the river you on, then that gives you time to do some changing. And there's a lot of people that don't like the river we're on right now. They see things going towards the future and they definitely are not happy. So they're trying to dramatically change the course of which this country is heading. Okay. Can that be changed or not? Who knows? Remember, if time is a book, if you believe in the Bible, the future already been foretold. You can't do anything. But some people's going to try. This is what they are projecting for the future, where by 2050, white population in America will drop all the way to 47%. Hispanic population is going to go up from, white went from 85 to 63 to 47. Hispanics going up from 3.5 to 17, 29%. White population is almost flat, 11, 12, 13. Asian population is astronomical. They went from 0.6 to 5 to 9, and they're going to pass blacks probably by the turn of the century, by the year 2100. Okay, we will be third instead of second. Okay. Now, why is this going on? And why is this just a big deal? And why is so many people upset? America's supposed to be a mixing pot. Okay. A lot of people don't like the mixing. That's the reason back in the good old days, they liked it when we stayed on our side of the railroad track. And you didn't have a lot of mixing. But times have changed. Let's go to our next slide. We can see what's going on. Let's go over here. Now, this is where, now, population is driven by young people. Why is that, man? Because young people are the ones that's having all the babies. You don't see people 50, 60 years old having babies. Young people are the ones that make the money. And if you are a country full of old people, this is the problem Canada has. The average Canadian is over 60 years old. The country is dying. This is why Canada has, which is the big secret in America, open immigration. They encourage people from all over the world to move to Canada because they're trying to keep the country from dying. Okay. We have a problem with that. Now, this is where the young people are moving to in America. They're moving towards the southern states, as you can see. They're all the way down here in all these southern states. The dark blue is where all the young people are moving to. The white states are where the young people don't want to go. The blue states are in the middle. But you can see this, it's all the southern states and the border states the states on the Atlantic Ocean is where most of the white people want to go. Most of the young people want to go. This is what is driving industry. This is why a lot of industry is moving towards the southern states, because this is where the young people are. These are going to be the workers. Okay. We have a big problem in this country. The baby boomers, the last of the baby boomers is 1964. I'm born in 61, but the baby boom ended in 64. When the baby boom hit retirement, when the 1964 people hit 62, that was born in 1964, you're going to have almost the same, you're going to have a giant number of people in America. The problem Canada has. See, older people cost the country a lot of money. They get social programs. They're doing all kind of stuff. They're not making money. They're spending money. You got to have young people to be putting money into the system so the older people can use all the benefits. Ooh, we're not to that chart yet. Okay, so let's go back some. And this is why we need young people to be coming into the United States, because the young people are the ones who are doing the work. I'm 59 years old. I'm planning on retiring in the next 2 years or so. I'm going to be semi-retired probably in a year or so. You're not going to make any money off of me. Okay. We need people that's willing to work. Those people behind me are the people that are working. Okay. So where are the young people moving to? They're moving in all of these states here. So let's look at that. We're just going over the 2020 census, which they're not talking that much about because a lot of people don't like what the census is showing. Okay. This is where the people are moving according to the census. White people are going to states. I can see it better over here. White people are they're moving to Utah, Colorado, South Carolina, Florida, and Texas. White people are leaving California, New York, Illinois, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. Okay. Blacks are moving to Georgia, Texas, Florida, Minneapolis, and Maryland. Blacks are leaving Illinois, California, Michigan, New York, and Washington, D.C. Okay. Hispanics are moving to Texas, California, Florida, New York, and New Jersey. Hispanics are leaving Vermont, Wyoming, Maine, Alaska, and West Virginia. Asians are moving to California, Texas, New York, Washington State, and New Jersey. Asians are leaving Wyoming, Montana, West Virginia, Maine, and Vermont. Now, when I went over that chart, you keep hearing the states that people are moving to over and over and over again. This is why certain states are booming, like Texas. Because Texas have a lot of young people, and a lot of young people are moving to Texas. And in California, you got people that are moving and going, but in a lot of states, especially in the Rust Bowl states, the northern states, they're not really attracting that many new people. Okay. But to keep us going fast, we need to keep attracting more and more young people. We need kids. We need babies. Because babies grow up to be, and the problem we also have with older workers. I'm going to piss a lot of people off by saying that. Older workers expect to get paid decent amounts of money. Young workers, they'll work for peanuts a lot of time. You can say, you're just a trainee. I'm just going to give you this little salary. But us, our 40, 50-year-olds, we're not playing that. We're not playing that. We want the big money. So a lot of companies try to hire as many young people as possible. And they slowly try, which they shouldn't be doing, but a lot of companies do, they try to push the older people out of the door. Because the older people are using but they're costing the company money because they're using their health insurance and this and that and everything else. The younger people pay into all of that, but they never use it. Okay. So we have that problem. Now, why is that a problem? The next chart. Let's look at this chart and see what is going on. We're going to blow it up so everybody can see it. This is the birth rate in America. This is not good at all. Okay. This is the main problem that is pushing immigration. This is the number of children per woman. Then why are you going to put all the thing on women? Because men can't have kids. Okay. The average Hispanic woman from 1990 to 2000 to 2010, the average Hispanic woman was having 3 kids. Then she dropped to 2.7, and now she dropped to 2.4 kids. Okay. That means they're still breaking even. because you got a woman and a man. That's two, and they're producing two is replacing with 2.4. With black, we was at 2.5, then we went down to 2.2, and now we're at 2.0. So you have two blacks, they are replaced by two kids, we're breaking even. White population in America, they're at 1.9 in 1990. They was at 1.9 in 2000, and now in 2010 they're at 1.8. And chart is a little old. You get what I'm saying? The number keeps dropping. And for Asians, it's even worse. Asians started at 2.0, they went to 1.9, and now they're at 1.7. The problem is fertility rates in America is doing very, 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 very bad. You don't see a lot of people with a lot of kids anymore. You see Hispanics with kids, you see some blacks with kids, but you don't see a lot of white kids out there. And a lot of people, when they do have kids, have one, two. The government will even pay you to have 3 kids in this country. Most people don't know that. That's the reason it's called earned income credit. The government will give you all kind of money to have 3 kids because it's 2 people, 3 kids, that's 1 extra. In case that one dies or something like that, you got that extra one. I guess in the future they're going to have to raise EIC to 4 kids at the rate we're going. So with fertility and with America becoming an older and older nation, older people are not pumping out the kids. We need the young people to have kids. Okay. This, I'm not ready to, let's go back yet. So this is the reason why they're trying to do things like, for example, over the next few years, that's the reason they just passed that new Texas abortion law that's really going to stop all abortions. And basically all across America, over the next few years, they're going to get rid of almost all abortion laws. They're almost going to get rid of, because they need to start making babies in this country. And it sounds kind of bad and kind of rude, but they don't really care if the baby's by incest or by rape or by this or that or whatever. They just need body count. Okay. And that's the reason a lot of these new laws are not making any exceptions. They need babies. Okay. Because the American population, if it wasn't for immigration, we would be doing terrible as a nation. Let's go to the next chart. This is what I'm talking about. Before in 1960, 84% of all immigration was from Europe and Canada. Today, European immigration and Canadian immigration have went from 84% down to 14%. And a lot of these numbers, see, this is 2013 because they won't even publish the new numbers. They don't even, because it's so terrible, they're trying not to publish. That's the reason on the 2020 census, when you try to look up the information, they don't want to say anything. And why is that? Because before, they was having a lot of trouble in Europe, and people in Europe was trying to leave the trouble and the recessions and the problems and that all the problems they were having in Europe, they was coming to America. They're not having a lot of problems in Europe now. Americans are moving over there. We're not coming over. They're not coming over here. And to tell somebody in Sweden and Germany and France to say, hey, you want to come to America? They're like, I don't think so. Okay. We have a lot more, problems over here than they do over there. Okay. And it's one thing, we love our guns in America, but that's one thing that scares Europeans is gun violence. And our gun violence rate is out of this world. And we love, like this new law they just passed in Texas, where anyone can carry a gun. You can carry a long sword. You can carry an AK-47. You can walk through the mall. You can do everything because this is freedom to carry your gun everywhere. Half of the people around the world, they don't want to come here. They don't want to walk around in a place where every people carrying guns and knives and this and that. That doesn't seem too friendly. Okay. So as we have all these racial strife and gun violence that is, and mass shootings and everything, even the number of foreigners attending places like Disney World and whatever, even before coronavirus was going downhill. Okay. And several European countries even put out travel advisories for the United States over the last few years. And now with coronavirus, it's astronomical. But this is what immigration is like now. Let's look at our new chart. We went from before in 1960, 84% of immigration was from Europe and Canada, 4% was from Asia, 4% was from Latin America, 6% was from Mexico, and 3% other. Now, these are 2013 numbers. These numbers, things have gotten a lot worse since then. In 2013, the number of European Canadian immigration is down to 14%. Asian immigration is up to 26%. Latin American immigration is 24%. Mexican immigration is 28%. So if you add 28 and 24 together, oh my gosh, we're not even going there. Okay. Other is up to 8%. Now, people are saying we have open borders, this and that, and everything else, and we should close. But the reason we're doing what we're doing is because we need young people. And this is why a lot of these people you see, a lot of people hate all these Hondurans and Guatemalans and all these people from South of Central America coming in, and they hate what's going on the southern border. But this is why all the companies are moving to the southern states, because they need workers and people who are willing to work cheaply. Okay. It's not a thing of, we can see the problem is we need, this is the same thing. I'm going to take a diversion for a minute. This is what's going on in Europe. Europe, the population is in free fall, especially Germany, Scandinavia. You get up there, oh my gosh, it's super bad. And Germany has been playing this little trick for the last 10, 15 years, where they've been bulldozing every other house and building parks everywhere to try to cover up that the population is going down. And then they started letting all these immigrants into the country. It's not that they want all these immigrants from, Muslim immigrants and North African immigrants and everyone else. They need young people. The average German, the average Scandinavia is aging. They need something called workers. And they're letting, and 90% of the people they're letting in are very young. Okay. Because they need workers. This is the problem they're having in Japan. Japan hates foreigners. But Japanese it's the new fad in Japan that doesn't make any sense. People in Japan is dating by groups now. You have a lot of people now who are 30 in their 20s and 30s in Japan that have never had sex in their life. How can you produce babies when people are not having sex? And the problem in Japan, if you do want sex, prostitution is legal. A lot of the women are working. Then the population is in free fall. So what's going on in Japan? There, there's there's people from they're South Koreans. They don't like the South Koreans in their country. They don't like these other races in their country. They have separate schools for them. They have separate things for everybody. But they don't have a choice because if the Japanese is not going to have kids, who's going to run their economy? This is a problem in the world now, especially in the Northern Hemisphere. But this is not a problem everywhere. See, the reason why the population in the world is increasing, we're going to stop the film right now, is because this is a problem of the Northern Hemisphere. In Africa, population is dramatically increasing. South America, dramatically increasing. Okay. Israel, the population is kind of flat. But in Palestine, the population is dramatically increasing. This is what the problem is in the Gaza Strip and in the West Bank. People are still having 6, 7, 8 kids. People in Israel is not having that many. They have 2. Okay. See, the world of the future belongs to the people that have the babies. Okay. If you want to be around in the future, you got to have babies because babies will be in the future. Len Livesey will not be in the future. I will be dead. Okay. The problem in the Western Hemisphere, in the Northern Hemisphere, a lot of countries in Europe and America and Canada and so many other places, Japan, nobody's having babies. And why are the women not having babies? Because they're working, they're having careers, they're doing this and that. They're okay. Maybe that's why in a lot of Muslim countries, okay, I'm not going to get into that. But the problem is, if this problem doesn't get fixed, the situation is only going to get a lot worse. They're hiding the 2020 census. They don't want to publish all of the numbers because the numbers are very, very, very bad. And they're hiding the numbers. And the undercount of the 2020 census is tremendous. Okay. For one, because of the pandemic, and for two, they wasn't exactly breaking over their neck to try to find people to count. They was only counting certain people in certain sections. And the last census before this, when they went through great deal to counting homeless people or people that live in their cars or people that move around a lot or drifters or truck drivers. In the 2020 census, they didn't even try. Okay. So we really don't know what is going on. Okay. But they know the picture is getting bad. So let's go to the next picture. Okay. Now, before I start it, I'm going to go over this again. Okay, Lynn, why are you going over this? Why are you talking all this race stuff? Race is not important. We're all God's children, this and that and everything else. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, but the problem is that this is why this country is changing. The country is changing not because Black Lives Matters have taken over it or what they're talking about on some of these, Fox News and whatever. You got Antifa running around and you got those leftists running around. No, it's because It's changing because the demographics of the country has changed. It's dramatically changed. And this is what is happening in Europe. As you let all these Muslims into Europe, because they're working, they're bringing their customs, they're bringing their food, they're bringing their religion, they're bringing everything. And as all these other people are moving to America, they're bringing their customs, everything else along too. We're going to skip all the way to, we're not supposed to be on this slide yet, but this was supposed to be back in the back. But we're going to go to this next slide now. This is a slide that shows religion in America. This is where we're at right now. America is 51.3% Protestant. 100 years ago, America was like 85, 90% Protestant. Andrew Jackson ran for president as being anti-Catholic. You didn't know that, did you? Okay. Today, Catholics are 23% of the population. And the third largest religion in America, this is shocking to all you churchgoers out there, is having no religion. Being atheist is the third largest religion in America. Another shocking point, especially since we're letting all these Afghans in and everything like that, and we was letting people from Iraq in and all this stuff. America is now 0.6% Muslim. That's totally false. They now estimate Muslims are 10 to 12% of the population. And they estimate by the year 2030 to 2050, Islam is going to become the third largest religion in America. Okay. This is what is happening in Europe. In America, they're building mosques everywhere. Now, I don't have nothing against Muslims, but people bring their stuff with them. The same thing you now have, especially in all the big cities now, you have Buddhist temples, you got this and that and everything else. And people say, boy, the country has really changed a lot. Yes, it has changed a lot. Okay. This is not Mayberry RFD anymore. You're not in Kansas anymore. Okay. You might as well take those ruby slippers off. Things have changed a lot. Okay. Since we're going out of order, let's show another slide, which is kind of disturbing for those people. We're out of order, but since you got to do it anyway. Okay. This is people living in cities versus people living in rural areas. Even today, the rural areas of America is 78% white. Cities, 56% white. And if you go to a lot of cities today, that number is way lower than 57%. Okay. You go to a lot of cities today, especially Houston, New York, LA. If you go you can walk around. You can go to Walmart and hear 15, 20 different languages. Okay. You got people from all over the world, which to me is great because I'm into something called multiculturalism. Okay. To me, I believe society is like going to the buffet. I like a little bit of Chinese on my plate and a little bit of Italian, and I eat, and I got that hamburger sitting over there. Okay. My plate is kind of dangerous. You understand what I'm talking about? This is what is happening in the country now, but not everybody is jumping up and down over this. A lot of people are kind of pissed off because they liked it where that Baptist church was the only church in town. Okay, and the only church choice you had was to be Baptist or Methodist. Okay. Now you got several other buildings down the street that we don't want to mention. Okay. See, it's not a problem with the young people. The young people don't have a problem with the way America is changing. Because if you go to any college campus today, you got people from all over the world and everybody get along. It's the older people which are having the big technical problems. That's what's going to happen this weekend. That's what's going to happen, unfortunately, over the next few weeks. There's going to be big, giant protests because people are very upset because of this chart, which we're going to go over right now, which could lead America into civil war. This chart here. This is why, like in Texas, they just made it where the legislators can now throw out the election because they do not like the racial makeup of how states are changing. They like the good old boy system. And the good old boy system is getting harder and harder to do because it is getting very, very bad. How bad is it getting, Lynn? Well, in places like Texas, a lot of people are moving to Texas. When I was naming those states, everybody's moving to Texas. The problem is in Texas. Where is Texas on my little juicy map here? I can't even find it now. You have a lot of, okay, you got California is 40% Hispanic, 36% white, 15% black. You have Texas is 40%. Is Texas is 40% Hispanic, 41% white, and 12% black. That number's up. Okay. That's the official number. That Texas is 41% white. If we count all the illegals that in Texas, this is why nobody wants to count the illegal aliens in this country. For one, we don't know how many illegals are in this country, but in Texas, they're everywhere. Texas is probably not 40% Hispanic. It's probably 45, 50% Hispanic. But they're not bothering nobody. Okay. Now, a lot of states have changed a lot. And this is why the state they're talking about and they're going to have some protests over the weekend, and people want the government, the state governments in the future to be able to throw out elections if they don't like the outcome to an election, because they want to keep the good old boy system in effect. But as the numbers start to get very, very bad, it's hard to do that. In California, for example, we have an election there this weekend. California is only 36% white. It's 40% Hispanic, 15% black. This is not counting the illegal aliens. America is changing and is not going to go back. Certain people want to keep the power base the way it is. And how they're planning on keeping the power base the way it is, we're taking another diversion because this is some really bad stuff if they want to do it. But didn't start with Trump. George W. Bush is the first one to mention this. That people from Mexico can come here and work and live here as residents for their entire life, but they will not be able to become citizens. The reason why he proposed that is because That means you can live in a state that's 40, 50, 60% Hispanic, and they can't vote. In South Africa, it got so bad where South Africa was 85% black and they couldn't vote. Is that where America heading into the future? Is that what we call freedom and democracy? People are now questioning openly, is democracy good for America? How come democracy was good for 200 years, 250 years, and now they want to change it? Because the math is getting bad. And people are talking about there's fraud. Like in the last election, they won it in the state of Michigan. Michigan, let's look at Michigan on our little graph here. Michigan is 79% white. No, I'm sorry, Michigan. Let me find 75% white, 3% black. But all the blacks live in one area called Detroit. They wanted to throw out all the votes from Detroit, Michigan. So Trump could have won the state. How can you throw out all the votes of Michigan? I mean, all the votes of Detroit and just throw them all out. Okay. You get what I'm saying? This is crazy stuff they want to do. Crazy. This is the problem they're having in the South. The South is, not only do you have, in places like for example, it's really getting bad in places like Louisiana or in Mississippi. In Mississippi, Mississippi is now 58% white, 38% black. And when you throw in Hispanics and everybody else, those numbers are getting very, very close. This is why Democrats are talking about turning the southern states blue in the next 10, 20 years. Are those good old boys going to allow that to happen? We have to choose. See, to me, we have to work. We're skipping again. So people don't be thinking I'm talking too crazy. This is where we're heading. This is America of 2030, 2040. We're going to live in these mega cities. New York City's probably will double in size. LA and Houston will double in size. We can all live in this metropolis and get along with our 30, 40 different languages, this and that, eating 50 type of ethnic foods, this and that, and everything else, and get along. Or we can just destroy and burn the whole place down. But if you go to any major city today, go to Austin, go to New York, go to LA, go to Florida, go everywhere. You hear so many different languages. You see all the different dressing. You go down to the restaurants, you see all kind of restaurants from all over the world. Everybody's getting along. This is the future of America. It's called multiculturalism. We have to learn to live together. Or we can destroy that city and blow it up and make it into a war zone. And these good old boys that don't like it, they can fix the problem. If you don't like where America is going with all these different ethnic groups and all these different people coming in because we need workers, then you can start producing workers. Start making babies. But if you're not making no babies, then we need young people in America. Let's go back. As I said, I'm not trying to hurt anybody. We try to cover things about what is going on. And the reason we're going over this now is because over the next few weeks and months, not only do we have to deal with coronavirus, they're planning several protests all over the country over this. You have a lot of stuff politically. People want to change before the next election because there was a book that was written 10, 15 years ago talking about the magic year of 2047. That was the year that America would turn into a minority controlled country. That book is now out of date because the date is now 2045. Some people believe the date is all the way down to 2040. Okay. This is why their people are getting very desperate. People feel like they need to turn this train around before it is too late. And you have another problem, which is pissing a lot of these Mayberry RFD people off. The number of people who call themselves mixed race. America had 1% mixed race just in 1960. We're up to 7% now. This is out of date. Some people believe the true number of mixed race in America is as high as 10%. And the biggest mixed race group is not blacks and whites. The biggest mixed race group in America is white and Indian Americans. I didn't even know that. I was shocked to find that out. I didn't know that 50% of all mixed race people in America is white and American Indian. I didn't know that. I even learn things sometimes. But they estimate by the year 2030, as much as 20 to 25% of all Americans will be of mixed race. And that is what is scaring a lot of people. They don't like that buffet. The buffet is scaring them. Okay. The movie Guess Who's Coming to Dinner came out a long time ago. But now it's just not the black guy coming home anymore. Now it's the Asian guy and this guy and the Muslim guy and oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. We are a change. Now, with all change, you can either just like as I love my example that I always use, with any change in a system, you can either fight the change or you can accept the change. New York City had 100,000 horses in the city in 1900. By 1920, the horses was banned from the city. A lot of people lost their jobs and livelihoods. But to the young people, the cars was fantastic. Okay. In the 60s, when immigration started, I was around in that area. Boy, you had a lot of tension. You had the race riots, this and that, and everything else, but we survived. The coming of the computer age, I didn't do too well. I was a board draftsman. I loved drawing with all my pencils and ink sets and everything. And Cadam came along and destroyed everything. Okay. A lot of things have changed. Okay. The world is not going to stop just because of the problems we're having. And we have a lot of problems. We also have the problem, not only is the population of America increasing, we also have robotics are quickly taking over jobs. We got automation. We got this and that. We got social strife. We have all this gun violence. We got this and that. We have so many problems in this country that we need to work on and fix. And what we need to do is pull together as one to solve our problems. Okay. And this is what we need to do. So, uh, just like you see in this picture behind me, this is the future of America. This is the future. It doesn't make any difference what color you are, what this or that you are, or anything else. What matter is in the future is, are you going to be prepared for this super high tech future that we're all going to live in? And if you're not prepared, then you're going to catch grief and hell. Okay, because this future is the middle class is dissolving, and it's not going to be the future of any one race. It's going to be the future of the one that has the education, the this, the that, and everything else. Okay. And right now, everything is in flux. A lot of young people there, they don't want to go to 4-year schools because a lot of things people that are going to school for right now is not going to even exist in the year 2025, 2028, 2030. They already know that. That's the reason a lot of people are going to technical schools. They're taking boot camps. They're learning how to do coding and things like this. You know, if you go to school now, you get a degree in the arts, or before you could get a degree in basket weaving, it didn't make any difference as long as you got a 4-year degree. Those days are gone, and we're having heavy competition from overseas. Okay, heavy competition, not from Europe, from Japan, especially from China. China's taking over everything. Okay. And if we're going to survive in this world where the world is getting smaller and people are jumping borders like there's no tomorrow, and probably in the future, I hate to say this, is what they always talk about this new world order. We're going to have it like, just like in Europe before. If you was locked in Belgium, you couldn't go anywhere. And now you can cross borders in Europe like crossing states. Probably 50, 100 years from now, you'll be able to go halfway around the world. That's why people have certain passports now. Before coronavirus, if you had an American or a British passport or whatever, you could just be flopping around everywhere. And you had these digital nomads that was going everywhere doing everything. Coronavirus kind of ended that real quick. But as soon as we get over this coronavirus, the world is going to shrink tremendously fast. And if you have the ability, see, it's no place now, it's not a thing now that you have to be in a place for a job. Today, if they're building a building in Abu Dhabi, you can design it in Austin, Texas, or in Las Vegas or whatever, or New York City. You don't even have to go over there. And when they're hiring engineers, these multinational corporations today, they just pulling people from all over the world. Okay. You can work from your computer, your laptop, and with 4G, and wait until 5. We're at 5G right now. They're coming out with stuff you can't even imagine. And when they get into the next generation of software that's coming out in the next 5, 10 years, and where you got 3D and all this stuff, and you would be doing 3D graphics in your house and all this stuff, you'd be able to do For the few of us that still have a job, you'll be able to do everything from home. The concept of having office buildings full of people, that concept is over. It's already dead. A lot of companies are not planning on bringing their employees back. All that office space was costing them a lot of money, and they'll let you work for free in your home. As long as you can do the work, that's all that matters. They don't care no more. We have to change and keep up with the times. You worry about the big stuff, you don't sweat the small stuff. And if your neighbor's black, white, and American Indian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever, who cares? And like with me, I eat a little, I eat food from all over the world, and certain foods I don't like. And I just, to me, as I've been telling people, I live in an area that's 98% Hispanic. I've been living here for 35 years. And I still don't speak Spanish. I still don't eat a lot of the food. But nobody is knocking on my door. Nobody's burning crosses outside. I do whatever I want. I go anywhere I want. That's the new world. Okay. Nobody bothers me. I don't bother them. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I let them do their thing. I do my thing. That's the thing. Quit getting in people's business. Worry about you and yours. We need to come together, because if we can't get along as one on this little blue marble of ours, we are going to be leaving this marble very soon. And when you leave this marble, you're not going to be a German, an American, a Canadian, or this and that, black, white, Hispanic. You're going to be a human from the planet Earth. That's all we are, nothing else. I'm Len David Livesey, your full spectrum Gnostic. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I hope I didn't step on too many toes. And I hope to see you again very soon. Stay out of the craziness. Stay away from these crazy protests that are coming across the nation in the next few weeks. We are going to get through this. Don't fight the future. Embrace the future. I'm out of here. Thank you so much. Bye.